And International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola says that they welcome the ceasefire agreement between Hamas and Israel. Now, his comments come as 3 female hostages held in Gaza for the last 15 months have been released by Hamas and handed over to the International Red Cross. Now, for more on the ceasefire deal and the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration today, we joined on the line by SABC News International editor Sophie Mokoena. Sophie, good morning. So what a day in prospect. Firstly, let's take a look at what's happening with President-elect Donald Trump and that inauguration. All systems go, it seems, for today.
Well, I think it's quite an important day in terms of the history of the United States of America, with Donald Trump making a comeback at the Oval Office later today. It will be around 7 p.m. South African time. And I think judging from what he said in the past few days, it is clear what he is going to focus on locally, but also internationally in terms of the foreign policy. For example, yesterday, he has again emphasized the fact that he is going to end the war in Ukraine, is going to bring synergy and stability in the Middle East. Him saying that he is definitely going to ensure that the imminent Third World War will not happen, and saying that it's very, very close. But we don't know the issue of the Third World War. It's something else. And I think in terms of the foreign policy, trying to project himself as a peacemaking president at home, touching on all those issues that are key to the Americans, like the economy, ensuring that things are done differently, and also the issue of immigration that has become so problematic, not only in the United States of America, but around the world. We know that South Africa is also grappling with the immigration laws that leads to tension between South African citizens and also those who are coming from other countries. And therefore, the issue of TikTok, immediately announcing that TikTok is back and is going to ensure that TikTok continues, that social media platform, and indicating that it is because of TikTok he was also able to win a good number of young votes in the elections, and projecting himself as someone who's going to ensure that there's a freedom of speech. And therefore, so we expect the same today, and perhaps more specific in this case, as you could see that he's also trying to reach out to Russia and also to China, particularly inviting China to attend the inauguration, and President Xi Jinping sending the Prime Minister to attend that inauguration.
Sophie, following his loss in the 2020 election, many believe Donald Trump to be a spent political force. But of course, we've seen him come back stronger, winning this time around not only the Electoral College, but also the popular vote. So how do you think Trump will approach and possibly even transform presidential power this time around?
You can see he has already started doing that. I mean, we will see today when he signs those executive orders in terms of what is he going to change and reverse and perhaps take forward. And that will give an indication what is he going to do with this massive, massive endorsement in both houses, and also in terms of the popular vote. Now, I think we are going to see a different Donald Trump. I say this because, remember, this is his second term. He's got nothing to lose. He was able to escape prison based on the challenges that he had, even though he was found guilty, something that he dearly wanted when he campaigned. And also now with this massive, massive power. And I think people around him are going to dictate what America looks like going forward. We've seen the influence of Elon Musk already in terms of being close to the incoming President Donald Trump and many others. And I think it will be more of people around him that are going to steer the ship. Of course, they will do that knowing what he likes and therefore ensuring that you really please the king or the master.
And that's going to make for some very interesting months and years to come. But in the Middle East, Sophie, a relief, of course, to finally see the first hostages being released and humanitarian aid trucks entering as that ceasefire has taken effect in Gaza. We understand some 600 odd trucks already let into the enclave there. So Donald Trump, President Biden, acknowledging that he has also been instrumental in actually seeing through this particular ceasefire. It's going to happen in 3 phases. So let's talk about what we've seen thus far.
Well, we saw yesterday a bit of a delay, and many people were concerned that now the ceasefire is going to collapse. But we saw Hamas immediately releasing those names, and the ceasefire started. And we saw the release of the 3 ladies, and they are with families now. On the other hand, early hours of the morning, we saw the second bus carrying women and children and vulnerable men who are not dangerous, according to the Israeli authorities, being released to their families and celebrations in West Bank, in Gaza. And for now, ceasefire is holding. We saw thousands and thousands of people or Palestinians making their way back home in Gaza. That was a very, very touching picture, or the visuals, particularly those ones taken with the drones. You can see the injustice that was meted and human rights violations that were meted against ordinary people in Gaza, women and children majority returning back home. And some of them, when they go back home, the fathers will not be there, the husbands will not be there, the brothers will not be there. And we're told some of them, when they started entering those areas, they were welcomed by bones and hops, the destruction. It speaks to what Gaza experienced in the last 15 months. And that strengthened the case at the ICC against the former defense minister and the prime minister of Israel. Also, I think now you will be able to collect information and evidence, as the United Nations Human Rights has indicated when I spoke to the spokesperson on Thursday that they will do that, and this evidence will be presented before the International Court of Justice, as we know that the South African case, the real case, to give a verdict whether Israel committed genocide is about to resume. It might be later today, but later this year, but it's going to happen. Now you need evidence. The same with what's happening in relation to the case against the 2 leaders, the former defense minister of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, which is a separate case at the International Criminal Court, where the court deals with individuals for accountability on war crimes. So there's a lot, and you look at the trucks coming in, yes, 600, but a slow start, because you also have to ensure that there is security, because people will go to those trucks, and when they said they might, this might lead to stampede. So you have to find a way how you are going to distribute this aid, the much needed aid, and that has been the focus of the UN.
Sophie Mokoena, SABC News International Editor, speaking to us there about a highly anticipated ceasefire between Israel and Hamas coming into effect, and the first 3 hostages being released, and in exchange 30 prisoners, mostly women and children, as well as men who are infirm, being released there. So for every Israeli hostage released, there will be 30 Palestinian prisoners released. We'll continue to keep an eye on those developments. Let's take a quick break.